Hello, welcome to ESPN FC Live. Now, every Friday, we're going to look back at the week with a selection of clips from our various shows on ESPN FC and ESPN Plus, including from Football Americas and ESPN FC This Week. Before that, though, some of the news from today from the world of football. And Barcelona against Valencia, matchday 4 in La Liga, is going to go ahead this weekend in front of just 6,000 fans. Barca were hoping that the Spotify Camp Nou would be ready and able to host the game. Remember, they've played away from home so far this season in La Liga, but instead it's club members only at Estadi Johan Cruyff. So that'll be interesting to watch. In England, in the Premier League, how about this? Out of favour at Manchester City. But now, after a loan move to Everton, Jack Grealish is the player of the month for August. 4 assists in 4 games. And Ronaldinho's son has joined Hull City under 21s. There's plenty more talking points available from the world of football at ESPN.com. But as promised, we're going to take a look back at some of the things we've been talking about this week on our various ESPN football shows. We're going to start with Football Americas, and the crew this week have been discussing the possibility of next year's World Cup taking place without Lionel Messi.
Lionel Messi talking about his future, always going to make headlines. Here's what he had to say about playing in the 2026 World Cup. Quote, "I haven't made a decision about the World Cup. I'll finish the season, then I'll have preseason, and there will be 6 months left. So we'll see how I feel. Hopefully, I'll have a good preseason in 2026 and finish this MLS season well, and then I'll decide." And, quote, what did his manager, Lionel Scaloni, say about it? Quote, "I didn't talk to Leo about the World Cup. I know what he said and that he's going to take this time calmly. Whatever he decides will be fine." All right, I'll start with you here. Anything to the argument that not knowing whether Messi's going to be there in 2026 could hurt Argentina's prep for the tournament?
No, because Argentina with Messi, it's like automatic control. It's autopilot. You know what your roles are.
What about without him, though?
Without Lionel Messi, while they don't have the reference point, we've also seen that Argentina is quite mighty.
They're capable.
They're quite capable. Now, it'll be a different look to the group. It'll be a different personality to the group. How they go about creating opportunities will be different. They're perhaps a little bit more direct in the way that they play, perhaps a little bit more confrontational in the manner in which they play through the midfield. But Argentina, without Messi, will still be one of the favorites in the World Cup. My point, my contention is, with Lionel Messi, you have the touch of genius, the touch of magic that I still think he has available to him and to Argentina. But he can only provide that if physically and mentally he is at the best level he can possibly be going.
Who's this against?
That's
It was on the podcast. The B-roll video here is Argentina scoring against
Venezuela. It's a little bit of filth too. I think in NFC I may have mentioned that I had a chance just like that in Argentina against Argentina. It was not the same outcome. No, it was not. But that touch of genius is what I'm talking about, that he still has that in his game. In order for him to be able to provide that, physically and mentally, he has to be there, full commitment and feeling good about himself and how he can impact the play for Argentina. I think there is something to be said about the emotions that we have seen from Lionel Messi as of late. We saw it ahead of this match. It was his last World Cup qualifier at home in Argentina with the people. Let's not forget about the fact that Lionel Messi at one point was not the favorite player in Argentina. In fact, he was blamed for the shortcomings of this national team. And there has been a complete turnaround in which the love that he's getting now surpasses that of, oh, dare I say.
No, impossible.
Could it be?
Can't be.
Do they have churches to Messi yet?
Could it be? Could it be that he's at the same level as Maradona? At least we're having that conversation where it wasn't before. Before all this success from Argentina, he was looked upon as an outsider, as a corporate creation, that he was not a man of the people like Maradona was. Messi has crossed over and now touches everybody in Argentina. And he feels that connection. And then you see the emotion, and I'm thinking to myself, look, you're closing a chapter here, and it feels like he knows the end is getting closer quicker than he thought it was going to. And therefore, I think he's going to be at the World Cup. But if he's not, it's because he's not fit, and it's because mentally he's not quite where he needs to be. And we have seen the signs that maybe he's telling us, guys, it's coming to an end sooner than you think.
I think also to the point, because he has kind of flipped that script in Argentina, what he doesn't want to do is go to a World Cup and severely disappoint because he knows he can't do it. Because he's done it now. He's won a World Cup.
So you think he's still kind of holding the card that maybe I won't go? Because my question would be like, it seems like if you're still playing in MLS at this point, you're obviously going to want to play in the World Cup. Like, why not just commit and let everybody know, and then everybody can move forward?
Because he doesn't want to commit when he knows he can't do the job. So what he wants to be able to do, to Ali's point, is he wants to be able to see where he's at. Okay, physically, I can do the job. I don't want to say, yes, I can do the job almost a year out, because I don't think he does know.
Yeah, I do think, though, that he's going to build and structure his schedule.
Oh, for sure.
To 100%. The preparation that he thinks is required for him to be.
He wants to peak in June, not in March when the MLS season starts.
And so, Inter Miami fans, and I've said this before, you may not like this, but there will be moments in which he'll say, nope, not today.
Your regular season is his preseason for the tournament.
Correct. Not today. I don't think so today, because I don't feel quite comfortable. I don't feel 100%. I don't feel like I'm ready for this match. I don't want this. I don't want to risk it because I'm thinking about that. So he's going to structure everything to be available for Argentina. And if that doesn't work to his liking, to his level and to his standard, he may just say,
So there's a possibility that not only could Lionel Messi not play at the World Cup, but he could also be involved in the Barcelona presidential elections. Yeah, there's a lot going on with Lionel Messi. So let's put this into context here. The likelihood is he will be available for Argentina at the World Cup. And the Catalan newspapers this week that suggested he may play some part in the Barcelona presidential elections, that's just a wait and see. So when Messi's involved, there's always headlines, and we've just got 5 minutes and 53 seconds of Ali and Casey and Sebi talking about Lionel Messi's potentially not playing at the World Cup. Anyway, the international break is over. We're back to league action this weekend, whether it's in Spain with La Liga, in Germany with the Bundesliga, or in England with the Premier League. And the big game of the weekend is Manchester City against Manchester United. Now, it's not often that this fixture takes place when City go into the game trailing their City rivals. Let's have a preview of the Manchester derby on Sunday with the boys from ESPN FC.
Meanwhile, in the Premier League, the big game this weekend is the Manchester derby. City are favourites to win it, draw 3-1. Manchester United outsiders at 130. Overall, you take a look at neither side have exactly started particularly well. Manchester City, of course, that win at Wolves in the opening day, we thought, oh, hello. However, that defeat against Spurs and then against Brighton has seen questions already being asked of Pep Guardiola's side. For Manchester United, a mixed bag, but in fact, they go into this tie 4 places ahead of their City rivals. For more, Nader and Mark are here. Mark, I want to start really with basically saying you think this is going to be 0-0 and don't bother.
I'll definitely bother. It's a Manchester derby and anything can happen, but I just think these are two teams that are so desperate not to lose that I just think it's going to be one of those games where, like we saw in last season's derby at Old Trafford, which again was a 0-0, I just think that they're going to be so set on not losing. So you look at the City team, obviously they've got Haaland, but apart from that, they've got issues at the back. They're going to have a goalkeeper in, I imagine, Donnarumma, who, it's his first game in English football, but then United are struggling to score goals as well, so they're not going to be too focused on attack. I'd imagine that Amorim is going to try and keep it tight, so I don't see it being a free-flowing game, but you never know. A Manchester derby can surprise you, but the years when I went to these games where you were seeing a 4-3 or you were seeing 3-3, 2-1 with goals all over the place, the players aren't on the pitch. They haven't got that array of talent that they had, well, certainly City have had in recent years, but United many years ago. But this Manchester derby doesn't have the fireworks about it that it used to have.
I mean, yeah, and I get all that, Oggy, I get all that, but City have not been great at the start of the season. The result at Wolves was against a poor Wolves side. They got exposed against Tottenham. They got exposed in the second half against Brighton. But at the end of the day, they're a better side than Man United. They're terrible. I mean, City have their issues. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily think it's a goalkeeping one, but we're probably going to see a change. They definitely have a defensive issue. That's for sure. But as bad as they've started the season...
They've got a lot of injuries, like old City.
Yeah, but they're still a better side. You watch Man United, what have we seen from them? They took a late penalty, a stupid decision against Burnley to get the points. They had a good 15 minutes at Fulham to start with, and that was it. And the rest of it has been absolutely as you would expect. At least Man City, at least they're capable of doing something a little special, a little different. I don't think they're going to be good enough to go all the way in the title race this year, if I'm being honest about it. I think defensively they're not going to be strong enough. But if you're at home and you've started the season as badly as they have, and it's only 3 games, but you have aspirations, and Guardiola has to have, after last year, aspirations of mixing it with Arsenal and Liverpool, and they've spent money, surely you have to be good enough and believe you're good enough to beat this Man United side, which is bad. I mean, really bad, and we've seen that early on. So, I think City are going to dominate this game. I think they're going to win the game. I think that we're going to see some flaws at the back from them because that's who they are. But I just can't see how they're not too good for this Man United side.
What do you think of Olgie's theory? This is all about two teams who are desperately don't want to lose, Nathan.
I wouldn't necessarily go that far. I think say that both managers, they'll be very keen to try and find a way to win, but ultimately it's going to come down to, say, the confidence of those players and sort of going out there and feeling the pressure of this Manchester derby. I think it's interesting the fact that, for last season, the 2 derby games, in the grand scheme of things, were just so poor and irrelevant in terms of what those games could have been. I think years ago you saw them playing for something on the line, whether it was City going for a league title or, say, before that, United being involved in that as well. But this game for City, I think from my perspective, it's not a must-win in terms of like a Premier League title. It's more of a must-win in terms of general energy towards the team and the football club, because they're entering it having already lost 2 games in a row. Losing the Manchester derby at home, you've lost 2 home games in a row, and you've lost to what is your biggest rival at home in a manner of a team who United are being written off by everyone saying how bad they are. But all of a sudden you could be 4 points behind United, and when was the last time we spoke about City being in that sort of position? So I think this game really does matter. I think for the fans who are going to be turning up there, they want to see a strong performance. They want to be able to see goals. They want to see a team that they can believe in again. Because if it carries on in the same manner that it has done for those last 2 games and they lose, all of a sudden it starts to feel like the middle third of last season again, which is something that should not be feeling at the start of a new season, say with new players in there and this new sense of hope that we thought was there.
Who's going to play in goal for United, Oggy?
I mean, that is the dilemma that Amorim's got. I think it'll be a Bayern deal because I think that he doesn't want to throw in the new kid Lamens in a Manchester derby and risk jeopardising his confidence. So I suspect he's going for the least worst option for him, and that's Bayern deal. But it's not a great option because he's had a terrible start to the season. But I just don't know how you can throw a kid in that we've been told constantly by United, he's not a number 1, he's for the future. And his first game is a Manchester derby at the Etihad when United are desperate to avoid losing. I just think it's too much of a risk. So. But, Ruben Amorim has made some strange decisions in the past, but I think he'll go with Bayern deal.
Regardless, you're shooting, aren't you,
Well,
Craig?
you can't, yeah. Well, a Bayern deal, it's like set pieces. I've got Haaland and all the centre-halves on him, and I'm in-swinging it under the crossbar for fun every time, where it's free kicks, in-swingers, corners. Hell, if Man City have got somebody that takes long throws, I'm throwing it in Rory Delap style as well. I'm just piling it into the box, because he's absolutely hopeless at coming out and dealing with the aerial balls. He's shown that. You looked at that midfield again. We saw the Portugal game, for those that saw it midweek, against Hungary, where Bruno Fernandes played in a more advanced position with Vitinho and João Neves, the two PSG players behind. And I can't help but think, looking at Casemiro and Fernandes, if that is the midfield too, and we think it will be, because the leopard never changes his spots as the United manager, then City have to dominate that area. They just have to. And if they do dominate that area, as I expect, then the supply line to the wider players in Erling Haaland is going to be plentiful. So I just don't see how United can dominate the middle of the park. Yeah, they've got Mbemo and some forward players that can maybe get in behind and hurt them, but you have to have possession of the football to do that. And that's been their big problem. Even at Fulham, after a good start, Fulham then dominated the match in the middle of the park. Zander Berger, Sasa Lukic, they started dominating the ball, and United couldn't get on the ball. Casemiro was chasing it around. And if they can do that to United, I think they're going to have their way at the weekend.
Donnarumma in goal, Nathan?
I really don't know, to be honest. I really don't know. I think given the signing and the sort of money that's outlaying on him for salary and so on, yes, obviously he's going to be playing. But I think Pep, in some ways, surely want to show some level of faith in Trafford, even if just a little bit, for one more game at least, for Donnarumma to get thrown in again at Manchester derby. Yes, he's had big games and big moments before, but he's trying to learn to play in a new league with brand new players in probably their most important game of the season so far. So I wouldn't be surprised if he, say, misses out on this game and, say, plays Champions League in midweek. But, with Guardiola in charge, do you really know?
It's going to be interesting on Sunday. One thing we do know from earlier today, Ruben Amorim has confirmed that Bayern will start ahead of Sen Lammens in goal for Manchester United. And remember, the last time they went to the Etihad, they trailed to that Josko Gvardiol 36th minute goal and looked for all of the game up until the last 2 or 3 minutes that it was going to be a City win and United would go home with nothing. But then Bruno Fernandes scored a penalty very late on, and Amad Diallo, there was still time for him to get the winner. That was the game at the Etihad. As the boys were mentioning, the game at Old Trafford in April was dreadful. It was 0-0. So hopefully we'll get goals in that one. And just a reminder that you can join us on the Full-Time Whistle for live reaction on Sunday, myself and Stevie Nicol, when the Full-Time Whistle goes at the Etihad. So we've heard from the Football Americas lads. We've also heard from ESPN FC. Now, after every single ESPN FC show on ESPN Plus, we have what's called ESPN FC Extra Time. And that's when you get the opportunity to give questions and provide them for the boys to answer. Now, in this little clip, we're going to be talking about where Jude Bellingham potentially fits in to the England side. Remember, he didn't play in the last game, and England did well in Serbia. So there's also that, and there's plenty talk as well about a certain Zinedine Zidane maybe replacing Ruben Amorim at Old Trafford. Two of many questions put to the ESPN FC gang.
What's the best position for Bellingham for England, especially when England have got Palmer, Foden, Rodgers at central attacking midfield?
To be honest, I think he could play as an 8 alongside, say, a Declan Rice type. But to be honest, for the way that England will probably do it, he'll probably play as a 10, be at the expense of probably a Foden, definitely a Rodgers. And I think Cole Palmer and a Cole Palmer as well. So yeah, I think he'll probably just play the 10.
Well, why is Foden in there?
Well, it's a question, I don't know.
2 years ago, Foden was outstanding.
Yes.
And since then?
Nothing.
He's been on a very...
Aiden was better at the Masters.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. Very similar trajectory to Jack Grealish. He's just been, he's not getting a game for City. I mean, Morgan Rodgers, big and strong and great runner. And obviously Cole Palmer, but Foden, unless things change for him at Man City this season, he's going to be, at best, warming the bench. Best.
Mark, how would you explain Onana at Manchester United? Does a winning team with defensive aura do that much to a keeper's confidence, or were his flaws masked behind a team with a winning mindset and defensive habits?
I just think he's not a very good goalkeeper, so it doesn't really matter whether he's behind a good defence or a bad defence. I just think that from the outset, he wasn't equipped to play in the Premier League. He was arrived as a goalkeeper that's meant to be good with his feet, but his distribution's been pretty terrible. In terms of his judgment and his ability as a goalkeeper, I've seen him make a few saves, but it's just nowhere near the level that you'd want to be for a top Premier League team. Certainly not a team of Man United's stature that wants to be challenging for the top 4, albeit in the distant past. But, he's not even a top 10 Premier League goalkeeper, so I just think that...
He was good at Inter,
wrong
though,
guy,
Mark.
wrong time, wrong club, and United are better for him. But was he? How good was he really? We talk about Serie A is not a strong league anymore. There's a lot of players that go from the Premier League to Serie A, have a great time. Scott McTominay's done fantastic. He's got a Ballon d'Or nomination, but he was never getting that in the Premier League. So I just think Onana's come to the Premier League and found it out of his depth. But let's not forget, he played under Erik Ten Hag at Ajax. Ten Hag liked him from Ajax, and Brighton United thought he could do the same sort of job. Never worked out. They should have gone for a top-notch goalkeeper, but they didn't do it.
Craig, you were at Wembley. In Spain, Germany and Italy, it's called the Super Cup, and it's a big deal. In England, the Community Shield is the English Super Cup. Why is it not taken more seriously?
Well, we took it serious when we were there.
Right. You didn't even dress up. There were people complaining.
That was me dressed up. All the bosses were there.
Oh, wow.
Well, not them all. There is a level of competitive edge to it. It's generally been the curtain raiser for the English top division 1 week before the season. So, it's kind of the last hurrah for your pre-season if you're in the Community Shield in preparation for the first game of the season. And there was an element of... It was a pretty competitive game. Maybe it's taken more serious in other countries, but it's never been that serious in England.
Naden, with Manchester City start to the season, do you worry they might actually miss out on the top 4?
No. I don't worry about that as such. I think obviously the start has been very, very poor, but for the quality that they have, that once they hit form, they'll be fine. I think there are obviously teams who will be in about the 5th, 6th, 7th, and so on. But in terms of them not finishing top 4, I'd be very, very, very surprised.
Are you going to the game?
Absolutely not, no. Manchester derbies are not a thing for me. I hate it. I've hated them throughout my entire life, basically. Not least of all from the late 90s where I couldn't even see them because we were in Division 2, Division 1 and so on. And then, lo and behold, being in Manchester, there happen to be a lot of Man United fans that like to let me know when it's derby day as well. So
wow.
I keep my head as low as possible. And if they get a good result, I will arrive and let them know what I think.
Mark, is there any truth to the rumour that United lining up Zidane to replace Amorim?
Well, they certainly looked at him in the past. He's been a name that's been in the frame certainly twice over the last 2 or 3 managerial cycles. On each occasion, he's just not really fancied it. He doesn't really want to manage the Premier League. He doesn't speak English. But I suppose, the longer he's out of management at Real Madrid, it's been a while now. The France job seems to have been out of his grasp as well. So he's a name that will come up. But obviously right now, Ruben Amorim is the guy that was brought in by Omar Barada, who's the CEO. If Amorim goes, it suggests that Barada got it wrong, and then it's all sorts of moving chairs behind the scenes. So I suspect Amorim will get a bit longer, but Zidane will certainly be a name in the frame because he's been considered in the past. But, that would be, again, another situation of throwing out one system, one set of players for another system, another set of players. So we'll see.
What's the small picture over your left shoulder, Mark?
Well, I've been so bored in international break that I remember my little trip to Greenland earlier this year when I got snowbound in Greenland. Well, that picture is me standing at the crossbar of a goal post because the snow was so deep that I could stand as high as the crossbar. So yeah,
there we
I've
go.
had a busy week.
Remind everybody why they sent you to Greenland.
Because Gab said no.
Well, because Greenland wanted to join CONCACAF.
Yeah, so if we're doing that, this jersey over my shoulder was in Succession in HBO. It's when they bought the wrong football club for the dad. They bought him Heart of Midlothian, and he was a Hibs fan. So just saying, we can look at our backgrounds and give little stories. Back with the FC gang shortly. Reminder that you can get in touch with them hashtag FC Extra Time, or every day the ESPN FC Twitter account will post something asking for questions, and you can get in touch if you've got any questions that you wish answered. And not only could they feature on Extra Time, but they might feature on ESPN FC Live every Friday right here. Now, we're going to end today by going back to the boys at ESPN FC Live and the Extra Time segment, and we're going to talk about Liverpool's title challenge, among many other things. Here's more of an assortment of fans' questions to ESPN FC Extra Time.
Welcome in then to the latest edition of Extra Time. Craig and Casey's here. Craig's got back problems, but he's not one to complain about it. Not at all. No, that's all right. Jan is with us as well. Jan, I have to say, as a parent who has spent thousands of dollars on soccer camps, well done this weekend. Obviously putting on a free camp in Norway. I thought that was really cool.
Thank you. Thank you. I do that, and they need to be free because every kid will have a possibility to take a share of a great soccer school. Thank you very much, Dan.
That's all right. By the way, send your checks in now to the Casey Keller Scottish Soccer School of Goalkeeping.
You got to keep the American system right. What Jan didn't tell you was the huge sponsorship he got to put on a free soccer clinic. That's what he didn't tell you.
The amount of
Don't
people
kill a good story, Casey. Don't kill a good story.
The amount of people who noticed the athletics track and was asking about whether or not a fish was there for you to give the kids tips as well, Jan. It was quite telling. Right, is it time that people universally recognise Manuel Neuer? Casey, as the greatest goalkeeper to ever play.
Look, Neuer was...
Who is your greatest goalkeeper?
I don't think
Present company excluded, obviously.
Well, of course. I don't think you can... I think you have to go kind of generational.
Okay.
Kind of in, when you look at...
I don't know. Goalkeeping hasn't changed that much, has it?
Oh no, not at all. Look, I liked Shilton. I liked
Peter Shilton.
One thing I know this sounds terrible.
Wasn't very good at those penalties in the '90 World Cup. We never got near one of them.
But I think
should have brought Dave Besson.
He got outjumped by Maradona.
One thing that though for me as a young kind of American kid, kind of getting into soccer, football, and as a goalkeeper, this sounds terrible, but I loved that Tony Schumacher hit from the '82 World Cup.
You say that?
On Patrick Battiston.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know it's terrible, but as a kid,
What's going on here? What's going on?
Maybe it was the American football in me or whatever, but
It's funny you mentioned Neuer. I saw a clip from a podcast a week or two ago. You might not have seen this, but you know how I'm across everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know that.
Yeah, I wonder where this is going.
No stone unturned. It was a former goalkeeper, or maybe still is, Ben Foster, who has some sort of podcast, and he was interviewing Eric Dyer.
Okay.
And Eric Dyer said, look, and I only saw the clip. He said, "I've never ever seen anything like Neuer." He said it was scary. He said, and the Bayern boys said to him, "You should have seen what he used to be like when he was younger," and he went. He said, "That's how good he was." He said he's played in England. He's played obviously with Lloris at Tottenham. I mean, probably played with a bunch of goalkeepers. And he said that Manuel Neuer, when you're up close and personal, training with him and playing him, he says you just don't realise. He said incredible.
I thought there was times when I was calling matches in particularly when Bayern was super dominant, probably those first couple of years when he got to Bayern. It was almost like he was so bored. He would then go do something crazy because he was so bored because it was so easy for him.
To get something going.
And, look, Neuer's definitely in the conversation, 100%.
What will he do next, Jan?
It's interesting because the goalkeeping nation of Germany, in case you would know this, is that Baumann is in goal. Ter Stegen has his trouble in Barcelona, of course. I don't think that it's a big risky bet to think that Manuel Neuer will be goalkeeper number one for Germany at the World Cup, because as Julian Nagelsmann's team is struggling, who do you call? You don't call Ghostbusters, you call Manuel Neuer because he gives you that safety. And I'm with Eric Dyer. I mean, he's fantastic now, but he used to be even more. For me, though, I have to say, my goalkeeper, who is the goalkeeper, is Peter Schmeichel.
I like Pete
a
lot, 100%. No question.
And we got a Peter Schmeichel question coming up, actually. But they haven't put that together because that would be too sensible. Liverpool have invested heavily.
You've still not got over the short sheet on it was on the live show that you spat your dummy out about.
Didn't spit my dummy, Craig Burley.
Well, you were going like that to the camera when we were on the graphic. God, somebody stuffed it up again. Keep telling them.
What happened?
Hey, you just give me a
What
piece
happened
of
to
paper.
your back? What happened to your back?
It was my back, not my back.
Yeah,
Tell you what,
exactly.
it's my back.
Don't worry, you'll hear all about it. He's getting cupped on. Was it Wednesday? Is that what they call it? Cupping?
I'm going for a massage.
Yeah, but you said
And
you're getting
chiropractor.
the thingies.
And I've got that stuff from my knee.
Yeah.
Falling apart.
The Michael Phelps of ESPN FC.
Yeah, what did he used to do?
Everything. He used to swim.
Yeah, but what stroke?
He used to win. He used to win. That's the big difference.
He won a lot.
Didn't he get into golf as well? There was a show.
Yeah,
Trying to
yeah.
play golf, wasn't
Play him for money.
Liverpool have invested heavily, Jan, in attacking players this transfer window. Do you think this gamble will pay off in the long term, or could it prove unsustainable and come back to hurt them?
I don't think it is a gamble because I think it's interesting to see the net spend. That is all that matters. I mean, there is no oil or gas under Anfield. They've just managing the club very well. They have managed to take the greatest talent of German football next to Musiala, Florian Wirtz. They got Isak at the end. Ekitike will think what's happening, but they still managed to take the best players available in the market. We can discuss, and we have discussed a lot, do they need an extra defender? But I think this is great business because they can sell players. Manchester United, Bayern Munich, they can't even sell players, meaning they can't even buy players. So that is my answer to that.
Just thinking, Jan, when you were doing this soccer camp for the kids for free, you didn't get Erling Johnson in to show the kids how to snap somebody in two, did you?
Wow.
Craig Burley, I had my first soccer school in 1990. That is 35 years ago. My first guest was Erland Johnson.
Yes.
I mean, Erland Johnson, his second touch was a tackle. But what a great man. He was the strongest man. He was a giant. He was a gladiator. And I'm so glad I had him as my first. He was the best defender, Craig, wasn't he?
Well, even if he wasn't, he was.
When did you play with him?
Erling?
Yes.
Chelsea.
In
Chelsea.
93, 94, 95. He was part of, he was part of that back four with Stevie Clark, Frank Sinclair, and it was Erling Johnson, and it was a guy who was very high up in Denmark at the time, Jakob Kjellberg, who had to retire, who's now a superstar in TV. I told you this. He hosts like these celebrity shows.
Oh, okay.
So he's completely turned his career because he finished in his mid-20s with a dodgy knee, one like I've got now. He just didn't harp on about it. So Erling was part of that Chelsea team along with Frode Grodås, another Norwegian who was a goalkeeper.
Yeah, he was.
It was equal. There's a what do you call it here? A link between the two. They're equally as mad as each other. But Erling Johnson you would have played against him. He was just he was a nice guy, but you talk about no-nonsense defenders.
Right. Old school.
Proper. We got him, and we signed him from Bayern Munich.
All our yesterdays with Craig Burley. Something has just come up following Mikel Arteta's press conference today. He was asked about the impact Alexander Isak may have at Liverpool this season. Here's the quote. Liverpool are the strongest for sure. They have recruited probably the two most decisive players that were in Europe on the market. They've done really well to recruit them. Arsenal with the early game on Saturday morning against Nottingham Forest. I'll be joined at the full-time whistle for ESPN FC Live by Shaka Hislop. And then on Sunday, the Manchester Derby at the Etihad, Stevie Nicol will join me for reaction to that one. Plenty games going on across Europe. ESPN FC every night on ESPN Plus in the United States will react. We do this ESPN FC Live every Wednesday and Friday. We will see you again soon. Have a good weekend, everyone. Bye for now.